Folks, we got some more weird stuff with the Charlie Kirk case. And look, I'm pretty much done covering it at this point. I will start with this, though. The fact that the FBI has pretty much moved on from this, they're done. They're set that Tyler Robinson is the guy, even though there are so many things that don't add up with this. It's truly a shame because an 8th grader could sit here and look at all the facts and say, Tyler Robinson for sure did not act alone. His tranny boyfriend definitely was in on it. Now he's just gone. He just disappeared. Wow, isn't that cool? It's fairy dust. Gone. And now everybody involved in the case has also moved on, even though Candace Owens has brought up some pretty shocking information as far as, I don't know, really what her sources are or where she's actually getting all the information. But so look, I'm not going to get into the wild conspiracies out there. There are a lot of people out there who are questioning the reaction of Erica, saying that she has moved on too quickly. And I will say this, if I ever get killed and I'm married and my wife comes on here within 2 weeks of me being dead in a gruesome manner, and she does anything other than be pissed off or upset, meaning smiling, giggling, talking about business, any of that stuff, I'm probably not going to care because I'm in heaven, but I know all of you will. And I have a feeling that most of y'all are going to be like, this person's pretty damn disrespectful. Now, I don't know the stages of grief. I don't know how people operate in regard to that, but I know for a fact, if it was me, publicly, I would not be laughing. I would not be having a good time, even if I wanted to be, because your grief and your reaction is going to spur a lot of other people's grief and reaction. So if you're happy and giggly 2 weeks after he's dead, I wasn't happy and giggly 2 weeks after. I was fucking pissed. So I think a lot of people questioning that have a valid question, but none of us really know how we are going to grieve if that ever happened to one of us. So can't really say, oh man, she's in on it, but a lot of people are. So for those of you who didn't know, the No Kings protest was going on this weekend or yesterday, or who gives a shit? I don't. I do believe in the premise of, yeah, Trump's not a king. He's just one of us who's working for a bunch of people who call the shots, and he doesn't do squat as far as make decisions for this country. There are people out there who are still making fun of Charlie Kirk, and it pisses me off. It's a No Kings protester right here.
Hey! You ever heard of Ozempic, you fat ass? Hey! You ever heard of Ozempic, you fat ass? Hey!
Oh man, aren't you cute? What are you doing? Are you giving yourself a shot of Ozempic? Because I feel like that's what you need based on looking at you. The only thing you should be doing is out walking. And look, hey, if you're gonna be a part of a protest and get your 10,000 steps in, by all means, but let's just chill out on being the badass part, because you're not. If somebody wanted to get into a fight with you, you would last 4 seconds before, I don't know, somebody has to bring you a Diet Coke. So folks, I don't know, maybe people just need to start being extremely realistic and not do or say things that clearly they're never gonna do. You're not a badass, you're a fucking blimp. And look, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're trying, because being unhealthy is un-American. But if you look like this and you're doing crap like this, you're just leaving everybody an opportunity to fuck with you about it. Here we go, we got another person who thinks this whole thing's funny. By the way, I've seen some wild eyelashes on women before, but nothing like this. Where are your eyeballs?
Oh my God, it's not funny.
Where are your eyeballs? How do you legitimately see out of those? What are those? I'm in awe. And then we've got a comedian out there. His name's Charleston White. And he got on his platform and he's sitting here, oh, I don't care about some white person getting killed. Can we do that to y'all? Like, do you want us to do that to you guys? I'll be the first to say it right now. I don't think it's a good thing that George Floyd died, but then again, I don't think using fentanyl is a good idea either, right? I'm not celebrating, thank God he's dead. No, because that's just stupid, that's inhumane. But no, this guy.
What's your opinions of Kirk's death? I don't give a fuck about Kirk's death. Nigga, I don't give a fuck about no white man dying. I don't give a fuck about no motherfucking white boy dying.
Oh, you're so badass, man. You're so funny too. Yeah, seriously. Because I'm gonna pull that clip up whenever, I don't know, you guys claim that some police officer was racist and somebody gets shot because, I don't know, they're sagging their pants and they pull a gun on an officer and you guys claim, oh, it's a racially motivated death. I'm gonna pull this up. And I'm gonna be like, should we give a fuck about that black guy? Should we give a fuck? And then we'll see, okay? Because I think we should. But I also think we should care about our actions. And Charlie had none other than having a conversation with people. But anyways, there are a lot of theories out there that, in my opinion, are just, at this point, pretty stupid. And one of the craziest theories out there is by a guy I've talked to on X. And he was the exploding mic guy, where he was saying, you know, these mics that I know well, I wear them. Somehow they fashioned this thing into an explosive or something that could shoot a round into his neck. And at first I kind of was like, okay, maybe, but then it's like, dude, why go to all that trouble? There are probably 50 better ways to do it. And if it truly exploded, where else is the sign of the explosion? There would be rips in his shirt. There would be crap all over him, but just one little hole. But now one of his theories is that it was like the movie Home Alone, where the speakers were actually the gunshot and there was no gunshot. It was his mic, or I don't know, from his fairy godmother.
Who is it?
It's Little Nero, sir. I have your pizza.
Leave it on the doorstep and get the hell out of
This
here.
is so stupid.
Okay.
Look at what he says at the top. Go back and listen to everybody's eyewitness interviews. They all describe the sound as super close. Why? Why would the sound be super close? It's because the entire place is surrounded by buildings. My property is completely surrounded by trees. So when you shoot a gun on my property, no matter where you are on the property, it sounds close because the sound waves all bounce off the trees. It keeps it contained. Very different than if you're in an open field. But this is where we're at.
Well, what about the money?
What money? Hey, your guts.
So then we get to the part where we hear what he thinks is the speaker sounding weird, and that's what causes this.
Yeah, so we're good. Hey, Charlie. Hey, hopefully we're gonna have a little bit more disagreement. Hi, yeah, so just wanted to, a few weeks ago.
Okay, so the speakers do start sounding weird.
A few weeks ago there was a transgender mass shooter, and ever since then, about 3 weeks later, the Trump DOJ said that we should start talking about revoking gun rights for transgender Americans. I think you're supporting this decision. Yes, is that fair to say? Right, great. So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
So look, I don't know what we're searching for here, but this is one of the guys that I've talked about in previous videos, where you come up with a theory and you make it seem like this is exactly what happened. And you're so set on it that people think you're 100% serious. And then when, I don't know, you have like a lick of sense and you come to the realization that maybe it's fucking wild, you lose all your credibility. We might never figure it out, but we can't do this. We can't sit here and say, you know that movie Home Alone where they had it on speakers? You don't think people are gonna know the difference between a real gunshot and a speaker gunshot? It is vastly different, vastly, especially if you're in an open space. Maybe you could play it off in an example like Home Alone, but with a automatic gun, no, they're gonna know, they're gonna know. So you guys, America's national debt, it's just exploded past $37 trillion. Costing us more interest payments than our entire defense budget. It's wild. It's a serious vulnerability. And foreign powers, especially China, are watching closely. But right now there's a story that's unfolding that's not about the problem, it's about a solution. It's about a company that's working directly with Trump's TSA, the Department of Homeland Security, and other security agencies to protect America from within. The company is called Liberty Defense Holdings, ticker symbol LDDFF. Liberty Defense has developed what might be one of the most advanced threat detection systems ever created. It's called Hexwave, and it was originally born in MIT's Lincoln Labs before being improved in partnership with the Department of Homeland Security. Now, this isn't your regular metal detector that you walk through at an airport or at a baseball game. Hexwave uses millimeter wave imaging combined with artificial intelligence to detect both metallic and non-metallic hypersonic weapons, things like plastic guns, 3D printed weapons, or even concealed explosives. And it's all in real time. It can scan up to 700 people per hour. And they don't need to take off jackets, shoes, hats. It's fast, accurate, and non-invasive. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The TSA has already issued sole source contracts to Liberty Defense. That means this company is the only company approved to provide this level of technology. They've received about $6 million in DHS and TSA grants, including about a $4.5 million contract to retrofit about 1,000 airport body scanners with their HD AIT upgrade kits. Each unit costs about $100,000, which adds up to a potential $100 million opportunity. Meanwhile, Liberty's market cap is around $16 million, which is near its all-time lows, even after raising $45 million to develop and commercialize this breakthrough technology. Their systems are already being used in places like Los Alamos National Laboratory, but the real catalyst is coming in April of 2026. And the TSA will begin requiring employee screenings at 173 airports across the United States. Can you believe that? They haven't been requiring employees to get screened at airports. That's a disaster waiting to happen. That changes in April of 2026. That's when the demand for HexWave could truly explode, and Liberty Defense is in a perfect position to meet the demand. With exclusive government partnerships, cutting-edge technology, and a leadership team built around national security and innovation, Liberty Defense could be standing right at the front line in a new era of threat detection. Liberty Defense, ticker symbol LDDFF, securing America's future one breakthrough at a time. Research it now. Timing is truly everything. So guys, this is the last thing I wanted to go over here because the official timeline from the FBI is so far out of whack, no one really understands it. We've had stuff like he was on the roof and then he came off and then he dumped his gun in the woods, but he took it apart first and then he put it back together. And then he had it in a towel and they found the DNA on the towel in the screwdriver, but then didn't mention that there was any DNA on the gun, which I feel like is the most important part of that. And then the official timeline is that he is at a Dairy Queen, okay? So he's at a Dairy Queen on 9/10/2025 at 6:38. He's just eating ice cream. Then you go down, this is 9/11 at 7:17, okay? And here he is, he pulls up in the same vehicle that supposedly he was driving, and he gets out and he is just filling up, like ho-hum, just kind of hanging out, watching, I don't know, a game on the little screen that they have at the gas stations. I don't know, folks. To me, this doesn't seem right. I mean, does it seem right to any of you? Look at him. Ho-hum, let me just get on my phone, text. And by the way, he's texting his tranny boyfriend. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. I worry about prints. Only thing I left was a rifle wrapped in a towel. Okay, so let's just stop for a second. If you're truly worried about a rifle after you just killed somebody with it on not national television, but pretty much, I would say worse than that, are you really dumping it near the place? Is that a serious question? That's so stupid. Okay, so let's just say, no, you're not. I'm not even gonna go through the idea of what makes sense on this because I don't even think anybody should have that in their mind. But you're definitely not dumping it near the place. And you're definitely not dumping it in a place that's easily findable, okay? I feel like that's just obvious common sense. But you're worried about the rifle, but then you're sending texts about it on your phone. I'm trying to understand the logic on this. If you're worried about a rifle, okay, but you're texting about the entire situation on your phone, do you think that, I don't know, any government agency can't get what's on your phone right now if they really need it? The answer is yes, they can. We have no privacy, zero. If you were a suspect in something, they can go on your phone and pretty much extract any data that you've ever said on there. That's just the truth of it. So continuing on, he proceeds to confess on 3 different platforms, turns himself in, and then is not cooperating, okay? Let's think about that for a second. If you text about it, and maybe you don't know, right? Maybe you don't know that they can see everything. At that point, if you're being questioned about it, doesn't it make sense to just be like, yeah, this is what happened. Obviously, I'm not lying to my furry boyfriend, so why don't we just get this going? My question would be, why is he being silent? And then after he's done filling up, he gets in his car and drives off like no big deal. So folks, this is pretty simple. The questions we need answers to, which we're gonna get, is why was he quiet? And ultimately, is he even gonna make it to the trial? Because if he's not cooperating now, what's the trial gonna be like? We're just gonna sit in court and be like, okay, well, they found your gun and you admitted to it on text, so we got you. No, it's gonna be a shit show.